Those stories shortly, but first some developing news out of Europe. French security agencies say a security alert on a British Airways plane is a false alarm in Paris. Passengers were evacuated from British Airways flight BA303 at Charles de Gaulle before it was due to fly to London. French police lifted the alert after sniffer dogs checked the plane and found there was no threat. Earlier, the plane was surrounded by dozens of armed officers and firefighters. The pilot initially told passengers there were technical issues, but after about an hour, passengers were told that the aircraft had to move to another part of the airport. That's when security officers surrounded the plane. In fact, passengers said that there was a direct security threat involving the flight. Let's go to WION's London Bureau Chief, Mandy Clark, for the very latest. Mandy, what are you picking up on this very latest security scare in Paris?
It's a false alarm, but it really speaks to the level of how every threat is being taken absolutely seriously by the security services. They simply can't let one potential threat slip through the net. So they thoroughly check that plane over for any threats. They spoke to everyone. When they deemed there was no threat, they said it was a false alarm. But it just shows the height of the fear that's currently in Britain and in Europe, and how seriously the country is under threat. The terror threat remains at critical.
And Mandy, with regards to this, certainly security's officials not taking any kind of chances. Right now, we understand it was a false alarm, but certainly, as we mentioned, there's been a plague of incidences there. What is standard protocol in situations like this, or is it still too early to tell? I mean, was there a phone call, or what exactly was it that made them move this British Airways flight to another part of the airport?
We don't know what the circumstances or the threat. What we do know is that they were told that the plane itself was under a direct threat. So whether that was a phone call or whether that was through intelligence, maybe they had picked up some chatter. They haven't given us any details on the threat they were looking for or what that threat is. The assumption really is terror-related, just because the amount of terror attacks both Europe and Britain has faced. But no detail has been given by either French or British authorities about the nature of the threat and how that threat came about.
Well, really quickly, we'll have you stand by, Mandy. I'm also going to read a quick couple of tweets from somebody who was nearby there. James Anderson says that they were currently being held on the tarmac because of a security threat. There was search, even their luggage was being held, and were also searched by dogs. And every single person on that flight, in fact, had to be searched and x-rayed through twice. There were also dogs that were on board that flight. So at least good news, though, that false alarm at that security situation in Paris.